We're back at it again with another video. How to speak so well that people give you money.
Yourself from, and then the script you read from. So here's how the practice works. This is how I train salespeople. You're going to sit down and you're going to say the entire script. You're going to read it out loud, enunciating every word clearly. That's it. After you finish the entire script, you're going to have one marker, looks like this, and then you'll cross out one of the words. And then you will read that document again with the word missing. Then, when you get to the bottom, you go back to the top and you'll black out a second word, and then you'll read it again. And by the end of this process, you will have repeated the script as many times as there are words in the script.
Because when you repeat the script, if the script is that good and you repeat the script because it's just too good and too good to keep, that's the best part about the script, is that it is the story that is waiting to be happened. The script is waiting to be happened.
And guess what happens when you do that? At the end, you'll be looking at a blank page that has all blacked out words, and you'll be saying the script. And so you will no longer be saying it, you will be breathing the script, which is the terminology that I use. The reason this is important is because if you are selling, the last thing you should be thinking about is what you're going to say.
Because if it's... Because if you're breathing the script, you are breathing the script. You are breathing the embodiment of whatever it is that so-called script is. If you remember the script, if it's a great script and you know what to say, then that's the best part about the script.
You should be thinking about the prospect is saying, because a lot of sales is in your ears, not from your mouth. The person is...
It is in your ears and not as in your mouth. You have two ears and one mouth. So you know what to hear, and then of course you have to think about what you want to say. Because if you fumble and if you stumble with what you say, then they will know.
Speaks the most in the sale loses. So the idea here is we want them to give us as much information for us to be on defense as much.
Because if you are always on the offensive and not on defensive, I've learned this in basketball, I've learned this in swimming, I've learned this in tennis, is that if you are always on the offensive, you must always be on the defense. Because if you're not on the defense, you're never on the offense. Make sense?
As possible, which is only possible when you actually know the damn script. And so,
because if you know the damn script, you know the damn script. If you read the script, if you know the script, if you understand the script, then you must know with what embodiment you must do. You must say, you must think, you must act.
For us at our team and for you, you have to keep script at gold. It has to be.
And if you don't keep it as gold, if you let the script die, you are going off of brain power and mental power.
Paramount. It has to be, no one is above the script, because people fought and died to figure out these words, which we know close prospects.
And close deals. These words, we know that they close deals, close prospects, close owners. If we know the script by heart, and we continually say the script, because we know what is best for us, then that is how you close deals, is what he's implying.
And if you have different people saying different things, you can't do any of this, because
if you have different people saying different things, then they don't know the script, then they may never know what the script is. Which is the best part of story of a script, is that nobody knows your story until you tell it. Nobody knows the script until you tell it.
You can't even do the basics. So it's like trying to...
You can't even do the basics of script, of basics of whatever it is.
build a skyscraper on a foundation of sand. If you can't at least pour concrete, if everyone says the same words, you don't have a team. And the reality is, this is 95% of sales teams, and that's why they are not world class.
And when they're not world class, then they will know. They will do, they will say, they will act, they will believe. Because if they know the fucking script. They live by the script, they die by the script.
Now, I said there were 3 things. So, number 1, you gotta speak loud enough. Number 2, you gotta speak at the right speed. And
Because if you speak at the right speed, because if you don't speak at the right speed, then you may never know what that speed is. What that new understanding, what that new belief, what that new happenstance. Because when you wait, you let the dreams die. You let the goals die. You let the script die. So don't allow it to die.
3, you have to articulate every word
so they can understand, so they can comprehend, so they can know with what you are trying to say.
Understand you. All 3 of these are around comprehension to make sure that it sounds natural.
Because if it's not natural, it is just eerie. It's not filling the wasted time, it's filling the wasted space. And when you fill the wasted time and space, then they know it's not natural.
You will just always have variability in how you speak if you are not reading something. If you read something, then you'll sound like you're reading something because you don't actually know the words you're saying and you actually have less variability in your speaking cadence. Now, what are the other 2 variables that change, whereas these 3 are constant? The first is pauses. So, if I want to emphasize a point, what am I going to do? I'm going to pause. And
because if you don't pause, then they don't get the point, they don't get the gist, they don't get the information.
the length of the pause will dictate whether you're just getting someone to draw attention or you're expecting a response.
Because of attention and response. Those 2 big things. I'll see you guys in the next one, and as always, stay you and stay unique. Peace.